Buddy. Hey, Polly, how are you? It's unseasonably cold in Massachusetts, almost too cold in the basement to sew. Oh my goodness. I get that. Um, I went for a hike today and I'm watching my friend's dog. And her dog is the same breed as my dog, Vishla's. And he ran away from me. And then a very nice man found him and put him in my van, which I did not lock the door, in the parking lot, and then proceeded to call my friend because that's the number that was on his collar and scared her. But happily, I have to learn how to use the GPS. He has a very fancy GPS collar. It has a little antenna and everything, but I couldn't figure out how to use it. But before I take him hiking again, I am going to learn how to use that GPS. So that was my little exciting adventure this morning, and it was very cold outside. So while I was running back and forth, yelling and screaming my head off, trying to get him to come back to me, I was enjoying that brisk weather, Polly. So there you go. All right. So it's been a few days. I'm sorry, it's been a few weeks since I've had a Fab Fit Friday because last weekend I was teaching my private fitting workshops at Michael's Tailoring in East Hartford, and that went really, really well. And I'm really excited. I shared what I learned about fitting sleeves for Fit Tip Tuesday this week, and I'm just going to show you. Basically, this was the resulting sleeve, and you can see the silver up here along the front, and it kind of looks like it it kind of looks like I bulldozed the pattern over and I pushed everything towards the front, and that's exactly what happened. So if you have, hello Barbara. Oh, Polly's not enjoying the cold weather. No, it is a little bit nippy here, but I heard it's going to be, warm for Christmas. So there you go. Sometime next week, it's going to warm up. So basically, the way I got this to work is I padded up my dress form. You can see it back there, that one. So I made a forward shoulder, and if you have a forward ball of shoulder and you've got meat or you've got flesh on the back of your shoulder, shifting the back, making it longer, making the front shorter works, because you're just rotating the sleeve forward for a forward ball of shoulder. But if you don't have a lot of flesh back here, and I'm talking the back of the shoulder, if you've got less flesh there, what might need to happen is you need to pull some of the cap out, and then you pull some of the cap out, and then you actually ended up needing to lengthen the cap where the forward ball of shoulder was. It was too short on her. So that's how I ended up with that. So if you're interested in more fitting ideas for a forward ball of shoulder, check out Fit Tip Tuesday. I just did it this week, so you can check that out. I also shared, and I just want to show this to you because this is going to be really helpful, I think, going forward for me. And I did this on a cool tool for Monday. I just want to show you this. This tape, it's sticky tape that comes off really easily. So you can keep you can keep changing the design on your dress form to mark your style lines. So I shared this on Monday. I love this tape. So that was a cool tool I did. And let me just say hi to hey Mary, welcome. And I'm gonna have to translate your Arabic later. It's such a pretty writing, though. I love seeing it on the thing here. So I don't think I can translate it while I'm live, but I will definitely go back and read your comments. Sandra says, greetings all, glad everything turned okay with the dog. Oh my God. Like, he took off, and I was only out of my car for maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes. And Mary has gone hiking with me, so she knows I was hiking under the summit, and and before I got too far, I realized she was missing. But I mean, he was missing, but he's back, and I kind of feel like he ran away like that because he's been cooped up in the house because my friend Marisa had some surgery. She was, recovering from that, and she had to go back for a second surgery, which she's back home now for. But she just can't have a dog jumping on her, so that's why I'm going to be keeping Augie, who is actually my Dasha's brother, and Sophie is my other dog, and that's his mom. So he's part of the family. It'll be okay. I'll work it out. Hey Cindy, welcome. Good afternoon. All right, so what I want to do today is I want to show you some fun things about constructing a bodice that's lined. You can see here I've got my bodice, and you may notice that I've actually changed the neckline. I scooped it out a little bit, and I did kind of like a halter style, so it's close around the base of the neck, and then it sort of flares out a little bit at the at the base of the neckline. So it's narrow here, it's a little bit wider here. So I changed that, and then I think I might have shown you when I first started working with this fabric, it's got mechanical stretch, not a ton of stretch, but it's got some stretch. So I wanted to finish the neckline, and Mary, this one is for you. Oh, let me see what you said here. Your girls come when called. Maybe they can teach him how to behave on your hikes. Well, actually, Mary, my friend Marisa is a pro dog trainer, and he probably is the best trained dog. I literally, and I had a Garmin training collar on him that would vibrate. There was no, there wasn't a like shocking feature, but I could vibrate the collar, or I could make a sound in the collar to get his attention. I was probably doing that while he was in the van when that person put him in the van for me. That was so nice. If the guy hadn't put him in the van, he probably would have come to me, but he saw him, he brought him down to the parking lot, and my van was unlocked, and so he put him in there. But it's all good. Marissa's fine. She called me. I called her. I'm like, no, I have Augie. Don't worry. All right, but Mary, get a load of this. Ready? You're gonna be shocked because I'm shocked that I used it. Ready? Ta-da! Look at this colorful celestial fabric. This is a very high quality cotton knit, and I used it to make baby sleep sacks for my social media manager. She sent me this fabric. I would never have picked this out in a million years for anything I was going to do, but I had some random scraps like this, and so I'm going to show you how that's working out inside my fancy black fabric in a minute. Cindy says, I do have to say I bought the Insider Club membership. Thank you. Now how do I learn to use the site? Well, Cindy, I have a tutorial for you. It's called how to navigate inside the in the club. And what I think I'm going to do here is, because I can grab that quick, I'm going to go over to my channel, and I'm going to get the link. I mean, I'm in my channel, obviously. Let me just get the link for that, because I have that very handy here. So I'm going to get this shareable link. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to put it right here. So this is the tour of the JSD YouTube Insider Club. All right, so there's a link, so you can check that out. I am going to put that inside the club as well, so you'll be able to find it as part of the content for the club as well. My camera is doing something funny, so I'm hoping you can still see me. It's red. I don't know what that means, but anyway, so there is the link. Cindy, you can check that out. And if anyone else wants to check out how to navigate inside the YouTube Insider Club, you can click that link. If you'd like to join, there are links to join below that. Oh, Oh, Tana says, I like unexpected things. There must be an art to that. Um, oh, and Cindy says, perfect. Thank you. I don't mean to cut into class. Oh, no, no. This is your time to talk to me too. So if you have questions, please feel free. If if you want to ask a question about something that's not exactly what I'm doing. But the inspiration, I was looking through my stash, and again, this fabric here, I'm going to show you how it looks inside the bodice in a minute. But I have I have a black dress, the dress I wore to my mom's funeral, and I wore it again for my uncle's funeral a few Sundays ago or Saturdays ago. They had a celebration of life for him. It's a Halston dress, and the lining, it's a black dress, and the lining is like hot red. And I just thought that was such a stunning, such a, you unzip it and you see the red. So I kind of thought this would be fun. And the nice thing is, it's got the same amount of stretch the way I cut it out, so it'll lay nice inside there. Before I take it off, I want to give you a tip. This is going to be a bunch of tips for, easy construction. If you're not on a timeline and you don't have to hurry up and sew the whole thing together in one day, if you take the Magic Clips by Taylor Seville and just clip them around the edge, okay, and I clip them all the way around, and I let it sit like that for overnight, what that does is it basically beats the fold of the neckline into submission. So after I took the clips off this morning, I pressed it, and you can see it's staying really nicely without any top stitching, because first I crimped the whole edge with clips, and then I pressed it after that. So that's a tip right there. All right, so let me just move this back now. All right, so let's take a look. We're going to take a look inside this, inside my bodice here. And let me just blow it out a little bit so you can really see what's going on. I want to make sure it's nice and sparkly. Get it nice and sharp. Let me just make sure. Let me just use one of my Christmas cards I got to make sure it's nice and sharp. There. Okay, so look at how cool this is. So you can see if I turn it inside out, the whole neckline is finished, and that's going to be the lining for the bodice. So super excited about that, and it's super soft too, so I'm kind of excited about that. So I'm going to be doing that, and I'm just going to stick this back here so it doesn't get mussed up for now. Now, sorry, I just want to make sure it stays nice because I ironed it. Okay, so I've just put that back on my dress form, my ditto form for now. So what I want to talk about now is the fact that, well, I'll show you how I'm going to finish the side seams in a minute, but I did make a copy of the pattern, okay, and I do have my pieces here. And what I want to show you here is my final fitting is way over here. Oh, Pins, Bobbins, and Paint loves the colorful lining. Thank you so much. I'm so excited that I'm using it because, it's really, it is fun, and I'm glad I'm using it. And I love the little surprise of color inside. So here is my issue now, though. I have, when I fit this onto me, 1.25 inches seam allowance on the side seams now. So that means my sleeve, the way it is now, is not going to fit into the armhole anymore because I took it in. So what I want to do is I just want to walk it, see how much ease I have. And then I think, because now I'm working with this stretch fabric, I think I might just cut it down the middle and get rid of extra ease, because I don't want to have ease in this sleeve, maybe 1/4 inch, because I think that'll work out better. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cut this out like this, and I'm going to walk the sleeve cap along the armhole, and then we'll see where we are based on my new side seams that I had to take it in. Because remember, I drafted this sleeve to fit the original pattern, and now I have to take some off. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start in the back. This is my back sleeve, okay? This is my stitching line. This is my stitching line. So I'm going to line those up on the stitching lines like this. Okay, so you can see that this is sticking out. I'm going to fold it back so you can see. So there is my stitching lines matching, right? And then I'm going to, I'll use my seam ripper to walk this along. Stuff out of the way here. I just want to make sure you can see, and maybe it's still a little too bright. There we go. I think that's better. Okay, so I'm just going to walk this along. Like this. And when I get to the shoulder seam, which the shoulder seam is right here, I'm just going to make a shoulder seam is right here. That's the back. Okay, so my back goes to here. And now I'm going to check the front. And I'm going to see how much space the front sleeve takes. So again, I'm going to line up the stitching lines together, and I'll fold it back so you can see. There's my stitching line. There's my stitching line. All right, let me just walk this along. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. All right, so it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Here is my front shoulder. So my front is right here. So this sleeve has about almost an inch of ease in the cap, and I don't think I need that much. And just to keep it simple at this point, I just want to get this dress finished now. I'll be honest with you. I'm just going to cut right here. I'm going to draw two lines. I'm going to go ahead and make one line like this, and I'm going to get rid of, okay, so if I go to there, that's about a generous quarter. So I'm going to do a generous quarter over here too, like this. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that and overlap it. So I'm just getting rid of that little bit of ease. Okay, because I really don't need that much ease in the sleeve because the fabric stretches a little bit. So now I'm going to just put this back like this. Okay, I'm just going to tape that down. So that's going to take care of my sleeve. Okay, and the other adjustment I'm going to check here is I'm going to make a little cap sleeve for this, and then maybe I'll make a soft shrug or something to put on, you know, like a little soft little jacket to go over it, like a little, I don't know, like a little shrug, you know, like a short cardigan or something with sleeves that I could wear over the dress if I'm cold. But what I'd like to do here is I'm going to measure this. Oh, actually, well, yeah, I'm going to measure it. So this is 13 and a quarter inches down here. And I know my bicep is 12 and a half inches. So I have a half an inch of ease here. So I know I'm going to need to take this in a little bit. And I think I'm also going to, I made it 3 inches from the underarm seam. And I think I'm going to come up 1 more inch. So I'm going to get rid of 1 more inch like this. Okay, I mean, originally I was just tracing it. So there is my thing, my hem edge. And then I'm going to come up 5/8 in the center like this, because I want it to be like a cap sleeve, not a short sleeve. And then, oops, so what I'm going to do, oops, I dripped a little water on my pattern. I'm basically going to do this. I'm going to come down like this, and I'm just going to create this curved edge here. Like this. Okay, so that will be the curved bottom of my pattern. And then I'm just going to use a different color so you can see the last step for this is going to be to use green. Hopefully this green will work. Oh, I'm going to come in that 1/4 of an inch here. So I'm going to change my allowance like that. I'm going to come in a 1/4 on this side to get rid of that little bit of ease I don't want. So it'll be a 1/4 like this. And then I'll just redraw my thing like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw my seam allowance. I'm going to do 3/8 along the bottom edge here. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm just drawing my, oops, like this, and like this. So here is my completed pattern. So instead of having a long sleeve like I thought I was going to do, I'm going to have a short cap sleeve. I'm just going to trim off this extra over here. Trim off this extra over here. Like that. Okay, so there is my completed little cap sleeve. Now, what I'm going to do with that, and I certainly can cut these out and show you, but basically what I'm going to do here is, let me bring this back in. So we want a neat finish inside, and because this has some stretch, I don't need a zipper because I was able to pull it over my head when it was basted, and the skirt is bias, so that will expand as well, so I don't need to worry about putting in a zipper. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to match up my side seams here, and I'm going to sew them at the 1.25 inches that I have, okay? And then I'm going to put these together and I'm going to sew them. And I might as well just do it and then you can see what I mean. I was trying to decide if I wanted to create the lining with the sleeve lining attached, but I want to finish the bottom edge of the sleeve with the lining, like the hem edge of the sleeve. I'm going to finish that with the lining for the sleeve. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the sleeves in, and then at the very end, when the sleeves are sewn in, I'll use the lining fabric to cover all the seam allowances at the armhole. So that's going to be the way I'm going to do it. So I was just trying to think of the best way to sew all of this together and make it as neat as possible on the inside. So that's how we're going to do it. So I'm just going to show you that quick, and then I'll cut out my sleeves. I'm going to have to cut out 2 black sleeves and 2 celestial sleeves. I'm going to sew the hem edge, flip it up, and then I'll finish the short underarm seams, and then I will I'll be able to put the whole thing together. And my goal is to have the entire, all the seam allowances encased so it looks nice on the inside. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm gonna pin. I'm actually gonna measure so it's nice and tidy here. I need a piece of chalk and a ruler. And what I'm going to do here is, oh, Cindy has to run, take a lunch break. Can't wait to see the finished dress. Thank you. Well, thank you for joining, Cindy, and thank you for joining the YouTube club too. It's so happy. I'm so happy to have you in there. All right, so I'm gonna draw my stitching lines just so I don't have to keep track of them, because when you're trying to sew a very large seam allowance, sometimes it's just easier to draw your stitching line instead of trying to keep track of it on the sewing machine. So let me just turn this around so it's the way I need it to be here. So I'm going to put, okay, so here's the shoulder I marked. I'm going to put these together, right sides together. Make it a little bit brighter so you can see. And I'm going to stitch these using on the stitching line here. I'll just put this big clip. I'll just use these. I'll clip these like this. And let me get this one. So again, see, I'm putting right sides. Here's my sleeve, right? So I'm putting right sides together like this. Okay, and I'm going to clip those together. And then I'm just going to draw my, I need 1.25 inches over here too. I'm just marking that. All right, I'm going to sew these. Now, when I mark my, when I mark the ones for the lining, I'm going to make them a little bit bigger seam allowances to pull the knit away from the neckline. So let's just go ahead and sew this. Oh, and then I forgot to tell you guys that I was worried about this. Well, I must have told you. Like, I was really happy that I could sew across all of these little beads or these little pieces of plastic or whatever's on this fabric. It doesn't hurt the needle, so that's kind of nice. All right, so I've got that one done. Let's do this one like this. And then after I do these, I'm going to make the lining maybe 1/8 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch bigger here. Okay. All right. So I did that. Now obviously I don't need that giant seam allowance, so I'm going to just trim that to 1/2 inch now. I'm just going to use my Guggenheims and just cut it like this. So I don't need that. Don't need this. Okay. Don't need any of that. So now I'm going to do the same thing. Here's my sleeve for my, here's one of my armholes, right? I'm going to put right sides together, and this time I'm going to measure, instead of 1 1/4 inches, I'm going to measure 1 3/8 inches. So it's, like I said, I want the lining to be a little bit smaller. I'm also going to trim a little bit off the bottom edge because I do not want this colorful fabric showing through or peeking out of my neckline. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up like this. Okay, and then I'm going to just put 2 clips here, and I'm going to do this one at I said 1 3/8, or almost 1.5 inches. And I think I'm going to use, to mark that, I'm just going to, don't freak out. Hey Carla, welcome. We're just working on a dress here. I'm showing some tips for construction. I'm just going to use my silver Sharpie marker here because no one's going to see that on the right side of my fabric. See, can't really see it. And then let me get the other one marked over here. And then I'll sew these, and then the next thing we'll do is we'll cut out those sleeves, and then I'll sew those together. But I wanted to give you guys some tips for, you know, if you've got a lining, you know, in this case I don't need a zipper. So again, I'm going to give myself a generous seam allowance here. Okay. All right, so now let's sew these seams. Other side. I think this is going to be a comfortable dress to wear because the inside of the velvet is soft and you know, soft against my skin, and then this cotton fabric is also nice and soft. I think it's going to be a cozy dress. Okay. So now, I'm not going to cut it yet. I just want to double check and make sure that's going to lay nice. So I'm just going to take the clips out. And let's turn everything back in right side out now. Like this. And I'm going to put it back on my ditto form because, remember, my ditto form is my size, which I can't begin to tell you how happy I am that I have this, because it saves me a lot of time and energy, you know, trying things on myself when I can just put it on here and I can see if it's fitting. Oops. You put it on right side. Oh. So I just want to check and make sure nothing's pooling. And I also want to show you that with this fit, I still have some ease in here. So see, I mean, I could take it in more, but I don't want it to be a tight dress. So I think this is going to work out nicely. I'm going to line up everything, but you can see, you know, I'm going to pull this out. I'm not going to sew, when I sew the sleeve on, I'm only going to sew it to the black, and then I'm going to use this knit to cover all those seam allowances at the end, but I think that's going to work out really nicely. You know, and then pulling the knit away will keep it from showing in the neckline. Like, I don't want my celestial color to be popping out. So if I pull it away a little bit, see, I'll draw it away from the neckline ever so slightly so it looks beautiful like that. So now that that's sewn, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to shut this off. Put this on the ground for a second. Let's see if I have enough scraps. I think I do. I do have a different print, but I don't want to be completely wonky here. I have some sharks, and I have some dinosaur fabric like this as well. But basically, I'm cutting it out this way because you can see this has a very similar amount of stretch as the actual dress. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to cut out 2 of these. And if you're wondering what I'm doing about the grain of the fabric, I can see the ribs in this. So I'm kind of trying to eyeball it to keep my center line straight here. So that's what I'm doing for my thing. What happened to my thing? I don't see your activity. Somehow my chat box has left my studio. I don't know why. So if you're commenting now, for some reason I can't see that. So I'm sorry if you're commenting. What do you mean I'm not connected? Am I still streaming? Am I streaming? What happened? Can you guys hear me? Oh, what happened? Something happened, I think. All right, I can't tell if you can still see me. I see the recording still clicking along, so I am just going to I'm just going to keep going, even though, I don't know, something happened to my studio here. I don't know what happened, but I'm just going to keep going. Hopefully, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. All right, so I'm just going to keep going. I hope you can't hear me. I apologize. All I'm going to do for the rest of today anyway is just cut out these sleeves. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to put them together. So if you can't see or hear me, I'm so sorry. Or if I'm not really still streaming, I can't tell because something happened to my studio. Although it says we're not connected, but I don't know for sure. I'm going to go look at my... Hold on here. I'm going to look at my... let's see here. Hold on. I just want to see if I can see this stream on my phone. Okay, so no. Oh, I guess I still am live. Oh, okay, so I can see that you can hear me and see me. I'm sorry. I can see it on my phone. I checked my phone. All right, so I don't know what's happening with my computer. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cut out these sleeves. So if I'm cutting out one sleeve right side up, then I'm going to have to do the other one upside down, right? Because we need a right and a left. And you may notice that I did not mark any notches here. So I'm going to put one clip is going to go in the back of, the sleeve. So before I remove this fabric, my back of my sleeve is going to be right here. Okay, like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over. Let me see if I can get the other sleeve. Like this. I don't think I can put it... Oh, I guess I can. All right, I can put it right here. So here's my other sleeve. So again, I'm just going to cut this out. And the back of my sleeve on this sleeve is going to be over here. So now I've marked the backs of my sleeves. And then the only other thing I have to do is cut out 2 black fabric sleeves. So I've got my black fabric here. I might make myself a tank top out of this fabric too. I really think this is kind of a pretty dressy fabric here, so I will be taking advantage of, you know, making maybe a tank top to go with. So I just want to make sure I'm using it the best way I can here. I think I'm going to do my sleeves here. And this fabric has some ribbing on it as well for the knit, so I'm just going to make sure I cut it out the same way I cut out the bodice. So if I do it this way versus that way, I think it's this way. I think my rib is up and down. Let me just verify. Yep. All right, so I'm going to cut this out like this. So again, I'm going to need 2 sleeves. I'm going to cut one out right here. I'm just going to do the same thing I just did, but on black. Okay, there's one. And this is the back of my sleeve. That's going to be pretty. And then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to cut out my other sleeve. Okay. All right. Okay, so there is my 2 sleeves. And again, this is going to be my back over here. All right, so now I've got 2 black sleeves with the little sparkles on them, and I've got 2 colorful sleeves. Like that, with the backs marked. I'm going to take these and I'm going to put the back to the back. So see how I'm matching back to back? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove those. So I'm just going to put like a little 1 notch there for back. And 1 notch here for back. I think I'm actually going to I have to mark the right side of the fabric because I'm just going to make a notch on the right side of the fabric here, just a little one. Okay. And then I'm going to use these clips to clip the bottom. And I think what I'm going to do here is, see how this stretches a little bit more than the black? So what I'm going to do here is I'm literally going to trim off like 1/8 of an inch along this bottom, and that will help keep the fabric from showing. Okay, so if I put it back like this, you'll see how the cap height is a little bit higher now? That'll keep the lining from showing. Okay, so we're just going to sew this together. And because I got rid of all that ease, I shouldn't need to gather. I'm going to baste the layers together, but I don't think I'm going to have to gather it up to fit in. So again, I'm going to cut off an eighth here. It's a generous eighth. Like that. And then when I put these right sides together, like this. Oh, you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to cut a little bit off of the edges too, just a little bit, an eighth. I just want the lining to be slightly smaller than the outside fabric because it doesn't stretch. So let me go ahead and do that over here too. So really I'm just skimming a little bit off like that. Okay, so I have it all nice and organized here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these together down here. Oh, not there though. All right, just right here. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to just sew these. I'm going to make sure it matches though. Make sure. Okay. All right, so now we're going to sew these. Grab my machine up. Let's get in there. Here we go. Okay, so Mary wants to know why the sleeves are right sides together, because I'm gonna finish these raw edges and then I'm gonna turn it like this so it's finished. You'll see. I'm gonna use the cotton to line the sleeve. Okay, and I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go like that. I'm gonna move my needle over a little bit. Oops. Just gonna move my needle over a little bit. I don't want to have to hem the sleeve, so that's why I'm lining it. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Wait a minute, I think I went crooked. Hold on, let me just, yeah, I went a little bit off course there. Let me just neaten that up. Okay. Okay, so Mary, see what I'm going to do here is I'm going to flip it up like this so it will be lined. So lining, regular, that's what I'm doing. So this is going to be a hot little dress with these little lined sleeves. But then I'm not going to have to hem them, which is what I'm happy about. So I'm just going to So probably what I should also do is understitch. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch really close to this. I'm stitching through the seam allowances of both and into the lining here. Like this. Okay. Now, what I want to take a time to show you here is Mary's making sugar cookies. I love her. Okay, so see how I've got this now? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you what I did to my neckline edge. I'm going to turn this to right side out, and I'm going to treat this like it's one layer of fabric now. And before I press anything, I'm going to use these clips to beat my hem into submission, essentially, by clipping the edge in the position I want. So I want to be able to see some black. See how I can see some black? I want to see black on the inside. And these clips are going to make these sleeves behave before I even press them. So I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to let this sit for a while. So this is going to be the end for today of my progress, because I want to let this crease form in the fabric. Oh, actually, before I do that, hold on 1 second. Let me do one more thing. Now, we don't want to see the lining, so what I'm going to do is to sew my side and inseams together. Hey, RT Blades, welcome. I'm making progress on my holiday dress here. So here is my sleeve. Okay, I've got my sleeve, my lining. I'm going to fold it right sides together, and I'm going to line up the seam and the understitching here like this. And for this middle one, I'm going to use my all-important favorite forked pin just to hold that so that stays right where I want it, okay? And I'm just going to stitch across here before I do anything else. So let me show you what I'm going to do here. So if we sew the lining and the sleeve, the whole underarm seam together like this, now that I sewed the hem edge linings together, I mean the lining to the sleeve edge, okay, watch what happens here. So now I'm going to be back in the middle. And I'm just going to sew here. What was that? Let me see. Just want to make sure that wasn't pulling inside there. I think it was pushing inside my bobbin case. I'm going to use a piece. I've been using this envelope, little pieces of this envelope, to keep my knit from sinking into the machine, literally like this. Okay, so we're just going to sew this, and when I get over here, I'm just going to keep that forked pin in there as long as I can. All right, now watch this. This is cool. Okay, so I sewed this together. Now when I put the sleeve back down, okay, the nice thing is, I think you can see, okay, we've got a nice sleeve here, and it's finished here, and it's finished here. So now I'm going to apply my clips, and I'm going to put 2 on this bulky seam, and then I'm just going to clip around here, and it's going to make the hem stay nice And it's going to keep my celestial fabric from peeking out of my black sparkly outside fabric or dress fabric here. So see what I'm doing is I'm just using a bunch of these clips to create the crease in the garment fabric. And then I'm just going to let it sit like this for a while, and then I will finish putting the sleeves in. I mean, I will press them too, but this gives me a nice head start here. Like this. And like this. All right, so see what I've done is I'm weighting down this hem, or not weighting it down, I'm clipping it so it will stay nice like that, and then when I come back later, it'll be ready. So Mary's asking me if I'm getting sick. I do have this little natty cough, but I don't feel sick. I don't know. I'm hoping I'm not getting sick. You know, I can also pull the lining up like this. And this is how I can get rid of more of the extra fabric, because I can pull it straight up like this. And if there's any fabric hanging, you know, I can also trim it off of the cap if it's too long. I might need to trim a little bit, we'll see. Maybe not, I don't know. So I'm clipping it from this end too, so it stays nice. But there is my sleeve all ready to put into my cap. I am going to baste that together before I put it in there. And I don't think I'll have to gather because I took out most of the E's in the cap. So that's my little celestial sleeves. Look how fun those are. So I'm going to do the same thing to this one. And then I'm going to be done for today. So let's just quickly sew this one up. And then I'm going to be signing off. Oh, I have to understitch first. I didn't understitch yet. Let me do that first. So again, I'm stitching through, you know, both seam allowances. Like this. Oh. I wonder if there's someone at my door. Can you hear my dogs barking? Okay. All right, so I'm understitching. All right. And then I'm going to match these two together. And I'm just going to sew this, and I'm just going to basically repeat what I did on the other sleeve. But I think I'm going to go, I have to go downstairs and see why the dogs are freaking out. So I'm going to end it for today. I will have hopefully a completed dress by next Friday. I'll show you the finishing details. That's what I'm going to be showing you guys next week. So thank you guys for watching me. I'm sorry I'm making a quick end, but the dogs are freaking out about something downstairs and I'm here by myself. So I'm going to go check and see what all that hubbub is. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope your holiday plans are going well. And I will see you again next weekend. All right. All right. I'm going to stop now. So thanks for watching.